I didn't think I'd ever be the guy telling a story like this. For 2 years, I thought I had something real. Not perfect, no relationship is, but real. The kind where you fight, yeah, but you also sit down after, look each other in the eyes, and fix things. The kind where you don't run when it gets hard, you stay. At least, that's what I thought we both believed. Her and I were the type of couple people would look at and say, yeah, they're solid. We had history. We had routines. We knew each other's families. I treated her family like my own. Holidays, dinners, small moments that don't seem important until they're gone. And I loved her. Not in some casual throwaway way. I mean deeply. The kind where you actually think long term. The kind where you start quietly building a future in your head without even realizing it. But somewhere along the way, something changed. At first, it was small. She got a little distant. Replies took longer. Conversations felt thinner, like we were talking but not really connecting. And every time I tried to check in, it somehow turned into me being the problem. If I got sick, and I did because my immune system isn't great, I'd stay away from her to protect her and her family. That was me trying to be responsible. But somehow that became, you don't make time for me. If I couldn't always be available because life happens, that became, you're not putting in effort. It felt like everything I did started getting twisted into something negative. And I kept thinking, maybe I just need to try harder. So I did. I showed up more. I communicated more. I listened more. I adjusted over and over again. Because when you love someone, you don't just walk away when things get difficult. You work on it. But here's the part I didn't understand at the time. I was the only one working on it. Then came the night everything shifted. She showed up and said she wanted a break. Not a break up, a break. And I remember sitting there, confused, but trying to stay calm because I didn't want to make things worse. She said she needed space, time to think. And I respected that. I even let her decide what that meant because I trusted her. That was my first mistake. 2 days. That's all it took. 2 days later, she came back and said she was done. Just like that. No real conversation. No working through things. Just over. 2 years reduced to a decision made in 48 hours. I didn't even have time to process what was happening. And then, things got worse. We barely spoke after that, but I started noticing something. She was spending a lot of time with mutual friends, people we both knew, and they were getting closer than normal, especially when I wasn't around. At first, I didn't want to assume anything. I told myself I was overthinking, that I was just hurt and trying to make sense of things. But then my birthday came, and that's when everything broke. She called me, crying, panicking, and I already knew before she even said it. She told me she slept with our guy friend during the break, and I just froze. I'm not someone who breaks easily. I've been through things. I can handle pain. But this hit differently. Because it wasn't just betrayal, it was how fast it happened. 2 days. 2 years together, and within 2 days, she was in someone else's bed. I didn't even recognize the person I was talking to anymore. Then she came over, in person, and this is the part that still messes with my head. She showed me bruises on her body from whatever happened between them, said it was aggressive, said things like, I needed to do better. Do better? I remember sitting there thinking, what am I even hearing right now? She told me she still loved me,
that it wasn't a competition, that she just needed time. And somehow, even after everything, I wanted to believe her. Because when you've invested 2 years into someone, your brain doesn't just flip a switch and let go. You look for reasons to hold on, even when it hurts. So I gave her space. I respected what she asked for. But while I was giving her space, she was moving on. Slowly, it became obvious. Her, the guy, and another friend, a girl, started acting different. Too comfortable, too connected, like something was happening behind the scenes. And eventually, it wasn't even subtle anymore. They were together, not just casually, a triple. And I was completely out of the picture, blocked on socials, ignored, erased, like I never existed, like those 2 years meant nothing. And here's the part that really broke me. It wasn't just her, it was everyone around her. Her friends, her family, people who knew me, people who saw how I treated her, people who welcomed me into their lives. They all just flipped. Suddenly, I was the villain. I was the one who didn't do enough, the one who messed up, the one who somehow deserved to be thrown away. I was literally told to pretend the last 2 years never happened. Like it was that easy. Like I could just erase everything. And the craziest part, I started questioning myself. I kept replaying everything in my head. Did I do something wrong? Was I not enough? Was being sick really that big of a problem? Did I fail her somehow? But the more I thought about it, the more things didn't add up. Because I showed up. I communicated. I cared. I respected her boundaries. I didn't cheat. I didn't lie. I didn't manipulate. So why did I end up being treated like I was the one who destroyed everything? And then she came back, showed up at my house after all of it. And instead of taking accountability, she tried to rewrite the story, tried to make me sound like the bad guy, like I was the reason everything fell apart. And that's when something finally clicked for me. Not anger, not even sadness, clarity. Because here's the truth I had been avoiding. People don't replace you that fast unless they were already detaching before they left. People don't turn you into the villain unless they need to justify their own actions. People don't erase you unless facing what they did is too uncomfortable. This wasn't about me not being enough. This was about her choosing something else and not wanting to feel guilty about it. And the triple? That wasn't something that just happened. That was something that was building while I was still there, trying to fix things, while I was being told I needed to do better, while I was blaming myself. I'm not going to pretend I handled everything perfectly. I was hurt, confused. I reacted emotionally at times. Anyone would. But I didn't deserve that. No one does. Not the sudden switch, not the betrayal, not the gaslighting, not being erased like you meant nothing. And I'm still healing, still trying to process it all, still trying to rebuild my sense of what's real and what's not. But one thing I know for sure now, I didn't lose someone who truly valued me. I lost someone who was willing to throw me away the moment something else caught their attention. And as much as that hurts, it also says everything I need to know. If you're listening to this and going through something similar, don't let someone else's choices define your worth, because the way someone leaves you says more about them than it ever will about you.